going to show through some stuff here, and slight adjustments really have tremendous impacts on overall end results. Now, this is a training session this summer. Long snapper's Hunter Bradley with the Green Bay Packers. The holder is going to be Matt Darr, was with the Bills and the Dolphins, and then the kicker is going to be Austin Seibert, who's with the Cleveland Browns. So all NFL level athletes, guys that are out there that are not, just jumping on a field and having fun. This is high level training. So you would think from release point, obviously it's low, balance point is off. Like I said, I just want to talk through some things so that you guys can see the impact of a bad snap. Now, most high school kids would take a snap like this. It is off away. It's on target, so it's not in a bad position. But from a location perspective, obviously velocity is good, rotation's good. So Matt's got really good hands, catches high. But the biggest thing from a kicker perspective is he loses sight of the ball here. So ball is away. He's guessing with where he's at. Now, from an overall procedural perspective, snap to hold to kick, obviously collegiately, professionally, you're going to be in that 1-2, low 1-2 range, 1-2-5 to 1-3-0. High school-wise, you can get away with snap to kick in, the 1-4 to 1-4-5 range, generally speaking, as long as protection is solid. Now, indicator for Austin to leave here is not necessarily ball leaving. It's Matt's hand leaving the ground here. So as soon as that left hand lifts up off the ground, that is Austin's focal cue for releasing towards his target. Matt's going to catch the ball high, and like I said, loses sight of the football. That's a number one no-no. That's a tough thing for him to try to preset if he is now in a routine where he's driving through, he's light on his toes, he's working up and through that football. Now his counter arm is going to be off and away, left arm up, balances out. He's going to try to control that football as long as he possibly can, but it's a late hold. It's a late positioning. So he's got to readjust his body back to the right. He's got to set back down. See if I can set that ball back down. And now he's in a position where plant to pull up and through doesn't come off nearly as clean. And because of that, football ends up being pushed right badly. So little things like that make a huge impact. And obviously we're talking about high level, flipping that through here, just trying to grab some other film, high level collegiate guys and NFL guys. Now from a, We'll get it. From the perspective, you guys still see the film? Can you hear me, Coach?
Yep. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. Okay, so just a couple basic things with the field goal unit here. Obviously, from a perspective of being able to identify things that kickers do well or don't do well. I know it's easy to just sit back and say, hey, keep your eyes down, swing through the football. I think that the more that you can develop a relationship with your athlete, the more he's going to commit to this, the more he's going to sacrifice for it. This is Jake Elliott. Jake's one of the more coordinated individuals I've ever been around. Smaller guy, 5'8", runs well, super excellent coordination. And he's one of those guys that love to be a part of the process. And, old school football mentality would be, hey, kickers, go on the other field. We'll call you when you need you. But putting them in perspective to commit to their teammates and overall just have that camaraderie and that connection with those guys, they're going to commit a lot more to it. They're going to put more time and effort into it. I know a lot of times high school guys will go off and recruit a kicker from a soccer team or find somebody at the last moment just to kind of get through. That development of special teams can really be important from, trying to turn that tide on a couple plays per game. So just having success with that. Obviously, we talked about the snap to hold. This is just off a set of sticks here. Couple key things that we really want to focus in on. We want to be light on our toes. We want to be smooth. And then at the same time, we just really want to have focus in on that command. If we can create command, that command is going to lead to confidence. And confidence is going to lead to a lot more made kicks. Championship games, football games are won and lost all the time on missed PATs and missed field goals. Jake's kicked for the Philadelphia Eagles. Really solid career thus far. Smaller guy, more compact. A lot of times with field goal kickers that are smaller, obviously their leg swing is not going to be as long, not as many moving parts. They can control that rep a little bit easier, and then specifically more into this positioning right here where they're dropping that foot, opening that heel, and then trying to access different muscles in that leg. It's a lot easier for them to generate that leg, that lift of that football. Obviously, a little cross breeze and working through everything else, but from a perspective of feeling comfortable with the body, that's really, really what we're trying to do. So I know that I don't want to be too long, but just trying to give you guys some tips in regards to when you guys get back home, what we are trying to do and how we are trying to develop that program's really, really important for you. Punting perspective, I know a lot of times quarterbacks, hey, you're the most athletic guy on the field. Step onto the field. Let's work on some little stuff. Rollout, situational type punting, pooch kick on third down or fourth down, just to try to keep the defense honest. But if we're looking at punting and we're really trying to focus in on a few fundamentals, number one, we want to try to find an athlete. If you don't have a punting specific player, find the best athlete on your team. This is a really, really difficult thing to do from a coordination perspective, catching a football, setting a football, and controlling that football all the way through its drop. What we're really trying to do is find somebody that feels comfortable moving in space, find somebody that has good hands, and find somebody that's coordinated enough to swing up and through and try to create consistency of that ball. Now, spinning the football to yourself like this, great way to get practice in. Indoors, Midwest, our high school coaches, obviously right now, we're trying to be really, really creative with figuring out space to go and kick on. But drops like this, reps like this, really, really easy to get good reps in and just kind of keep working through some stuff. So catching the football, setting the football, and if you guys are looking at film and breaking stuff down for your punters, we always want to focus in on staying small, trying to be smooth into that plant heel, trying to keep that chest up, keeping that toe down as long as we can, and then obviously development of that flexibility is going to be key for us. Let me try to transition to one more clip for you guys. And then from there, we're going to just get back to the overall thought. So field goals, kickoffs. I know that kickoffs can be a difficult thing to really, really control. They can be a huge, huge boost for us, and they can also be a pain in the ass, especially if our kicker has no control when we're calling, our directions, or we're calling a deep right and he squibs left. Coverage-wise, it becomes an absolute nightmare. So trying to build confidence in the approach, in the ability to be consistent, trying to be smooth, and then realistically just continuing to limit the reps when it comes to kickoff work. And I know that is sometimes difficult if you don't have a lot of numbers and you only have one kicker, but the most important kicks hopefully are going to be taken at the end of the season when it comes to kickoffs, getting touchbacks and pinning teams deep. And when your kicker is flat out burned out because you've been doing 100 reps on, kickoff return and KO and everything else, you want that guy feeling fresh and being in a good position. Now, this is Harrison Butker. He's with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a taller guy. He's 6'4.5", about 215 pounds. From a high school level perspective, a good high school hang time's looking anywhere from a 3.8 to a 4.0, maybe a 4.2. I mean, that's fantastic. Harrison's a guy that's routinely in the 4.6 to 4.8 range on his kickoffs. And that's a combination of him being a really, really coordinated athlete, him being a longer levered guy, and then him just maximizing more of that leverage vertically up and through. So we call this the hurdle. One of the biggest differences between our field goals and our kickoffs. We're working up and through that football. We're transitioning. We're going to kick on that right. We're going to land on that right. And then we're going to work all the way through that ball. So, just a couple technical pointers there that I really wanted to talk through. I feel like it's an important aspect that a lot of times okay, perfect. Just to try to keep it light, I think that special teams, the more important that you guys make it an emphasis, whether it's team run or field goal for the game, or, make it light, make it fun. Try to have those people be active. I know a lot of times it's, hey, show up and kick, hey, show up and snap, hey, show up and do your punting. And from a mindset perspective, like, you want them to be actively engaged. You don't want them showing up on Friday nights and being like, oh, I'm doing the team a favor. Like, I'm here. I'm being a part of this. I'm committing time to this. I'm committing my effort to this. And that's going to be a really important an important aspect from that mindset that's going to help you. I think one of the most important things too is coach. If you guys are good coaches, coach them up to coach you. Hey, what do you guys feel? What do you guys feel is a good range? You know, if the wind's in your face, the wind's at your back, directionally, what are you guys going to do? Because there's nothing worse than throwing a kid out there to hit a 40-yard field goal and he shanks when 30 yards left. And you're like, why the hell did we even take this? So the more kicks he's going to make, the more confidence you guys are going to have with it. And just showing to him, hey, you know what, we can miss kicks. I just want you to get out there, have a fresh mindset that we're going to make this kick. The snap's going to be good. The snap's going to be good. The hold's going to be good. And now we're in a position where you just do what you do. You step on that field, you take that swing, and you're going to make kicks. Like, that's a really, really powerful thing for a kid at any level to have. The team's got his back, that the coaching staff has his back. Last thing you want to do is step out on the field and think, man, if I miss this PAT, coach is going to string my neck and I'm never going to get to play again, and it's going to be a tough thing, because that happens all the time. You can look at colleges, you can look at NFL, all over the place. It's a very, very easy it's a slippery slope. So with that being said, I don't think I took too much time, but at least I talked through some skill stuff for you guys to kind of focus in on. So if you guys have questions, fire away. I apologize for, once again, not having my contact information, but I can get that to you as well. So
no, you're good. All right. So first one is, where do you want the kicker's plant foot to land when kicking field goals?
Okay, that's going to be totally dependent on what block he's going to use. Generally speaking, if it's a 2-inch block, going to be more towards the middle part of his foot. If it's going to be a 1-inch block or a 1/2-inch block, which is kind of a newer format, it's going to be closer towards that big knuckle towards the heel. So your middle to the beginning part of the foot on a 2-inch block, which most high school kids freshman year, sophomore year are going to be on that. If a kid's advanced, if he's a pretty good player, if he's a pretty good ball striker, generally speaking, they'll make that transition to a 1-inch block with a ground, midway through that junior season, going up to senior season. I normally recommend high school kids that are trying to have aspirations of playing in college feel comfortable going off the ground junior year and your senior year. Obviously, with the stuff that's going on right now, a little bit different dynamic, but I always recommend kids kicking off of a block their senior year, with the likelihood that the snap is going to be shit, the hold's going to be crappy, or at least you're going to play in some bad weather, kind of depending regionally where you're at. That has a huge impact on your overall success. So,
and then can you talk about the volume for a high school kicker or punter? How much is too much? And then how many fulls per specials practice?
Yeah, and that's one of those things that's going to base upon your athlete. I know that's kind of a cop-out way of saying, like, you need to figure out what he's going to tell you. Like, if he's a multi-position guy that doesn't come off the field and is a hard ass and wants to take reps, like, well, then just make sure that he's feeling fresh. If he is not necessarily totally committed on being a football player and just wants to kick and doesn't want to take as many reps, well, then obviously you guys can have a rep count based upon, heavier towards the front end of the week, whether it's a Sunday practice or a Monday practice. Trying to do kickoffs maybe once to twice per week. I know a lot of times kickoff return is important in kickoffs and everything else, but if you guys can get to a position where you start to shut him down early, feel that he's fresh going towards the end of the week, that's when he's going to be most productive. Now, obviously, make sure that he gets enough reps so you guys can cover and do everything else and feel good about where he's at. But having him go out there and hit 20 fulls on kickoff and then hit another 15 on KOR and then hit JV and then bounce it back and forth, like, that's going to burn him out faster than anything else. So, and you guys have probably experienced that with younger kids that come out, and by the end of the season, they're what had been touchbacks are now sitting down at the 10 or 15 yard line. So,
and then optimal snap to punt timing when doing it pro style.
Yeah, pro style pocket, in the pocket, you're looking 1.5. Like, that's a pretty general guideline. Collegiately, you're going to be working down into 1.4s, low 1.4s. NFL, if you're in that 1.3 to 1.35 range, you should be good. High school wise, as long as your protection's decent, 1.5 is going to be adequate. And I know a lot of times when I'm looking pregame and everything else, if I'm seeing guys in the 1.6s or 1.7s, instantly I know the pump block's going to be on. So that's what we're always trying to scheme for, double thud. But yeah, generally speaking, that 1.5 range is a good catch to set. You don't want him going too fast, especially if he doesn't have good hands. Then it's going to turn into a tough situation for us. So
cool. All right, man. That's all we got.